Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time of day again, where we all gather around our transistor internet for the wonderful Freak Jam. With our wonderful host, who's a wonderful guy, a wonderful lover, and a wonderful human being. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Ian. Do you like the way I am rhymed Ian with human being? That's took a lot of thought, that. Here's the man himself. It's Ian. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to FreakJam Unsigned Special. Tonight, your host isn't the lovely Ian. It is, in fact, the even more lovely, some would say, Phil Rees. But we are here tonight as a celebration of Ian, a man who has, for a lot of us, been someone who's seen us through this lockdown and helped us a lot pre that. And we're going to find out a lot about him tonight. We're going to find out his musical journey. Because there is silence, I'm just going to have to talk, which apparently won't be a problem. But we're going to find out about his musical journey and what made him the musician that he is today, and indeed the man that he is today. It's like Frost Nixon, only something important at stake. So let's kick off. Ian, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm all right. This is a bit weird. I'm on the wrong side of the screen, man.
It's about time.
I've got to remember to sort of sit this way, otherwise I'm going to sit with my back to you, and that's just rude.
I mean, it might be appropriate later on. We'll find out.
Going to be like that, is it? Righty ho.
But,
I'm fully prepared. I've got the leave meeting button just here.
Just one of those and gone. Let's start off with the early part of Ian, a baby Ian, the young Ian, like Baby Yoda, but Ian shaped.
More cute.
Obviously. What's your earliest musical memory?
Oh, God. I was around music a lot as a kid. My mum and dad, as much as they weren't musicians, they loved music. So I was brought up on stuff like Foster and Allen, Steel Eye Span, more folky stuff, through to The Who and the Beatles. Jeff Wayne's War of the World, big memory for me as a kid. So musically, and, my dad ended up buying a guitar. And we used to sit in the conservatory and play Bob Dylan songs and bits and pieces like that. So, yeah, that's kind of it. And my nan and granddad and my cousin as well all used to play keyboards. They had organs in the house and stuff like that. So, like family parties, someone would get up and play a few tunes.
Lovely stuff. Excellent. What was the first album that you bought with your own money?
Album? I remember my first single. And it was I Want to Be Your Drill Instructor. Do you remember that?
I don't remember that.
Was it Apocalypse Now or one of the war films, one of the big war films at the time? Yep. And it had the Sergeant Major drilling the guys in the army. And it was, I want to be your drill instructor. And they all repeat it. And then they released it all as a single. It was brilliant. I think the first album was probably something like Thriller or Bad.
And what format did you buy it on?
Oh, it was vinyl then. Everything was vinyl then, mate.
Lovely stuff, lovely stuff. Have you still got it?
No, well, don't know is the answer. I got rid of a load of my vinyl just because we live in a small flat and it takes so much to store. I've got bits and pieces, all my CDs, they're all under the stairs.
Yep, and now never listen to because you can pull up anything you want on your phone.
Well, I just can't get under the stairs more than
Yeah.
point. You obviously haven't seen my cupboards.
No.
That's a good thing. That's a positive thing. That means you're not spying on me.
Exactly.
Josh did pop over the other day, and I was worried that he'd dropped a camera in the house somewhere.
I will be clipping to those later. So, what was your inspiration to actually make music yourself? What inspired you to pick up a guitar or a glockenspiel or whatever it was you started on?
I don't know. It was one of those things that I said I was brought up around music, and I remember sort of saying to Mum and Dad, I said, can I learn an instrument? And they were like, well, yeah. Like what? And I was like, saxophone or drums or cello, because I really loved the sounds that the instruments made. So they bought me a keyboard and a pair of headphones.
Which is a pretty decent way of doing it. You get all the sounds badly and quietly.
Quietly. That was more the point, I think. And I ended up playing keyboard in a couple of school productions. I remember once being dressed as a Frenchman, and we'd cooked all the teachers a French meal. And I stood in the room where the teachers were eating this French meal, playing Frère Jacques and Chanson d'amour over and over again, because it was the only two French songs I knew.
So, torturing the teachers.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. Have you still got the outfit? If so, what are you wearing Thursday?
Phil, only for you, all right? The beret only comes out for you, sir.
I shall look forward to it on Thursday.
I'll have the garlic round my neck, just like you like it.
Oh, that's how I love it. So, off the back of that, started learning keyboards. Obviously, got to a decent enough level if you were playing them in school productions and things like that.
No, not really. It was all cheating. It was all single finger chords on the organ that my dad had bought. So you didn't have to worry about any of it. So I'm actually a really bad keyboard player. But I'm one of these people. I don't class myself as an expert in anything really musically. But I've got this ear that I can pick out a tune pretty much on anything. Except for wind instruments. I cannot get a sound out of wind instruments.
No, fair enough. But yeah, that is so natural musician. Guitar probably your main love when it comes to an instrument.
Vocals really is my thing.
Well, that is your main instrument, and we'll get to that. But...
I dabble. I sound great in a studio because that one block of 4 bars that you get right, copy paste, is great.
That's all you need, as long as you can do that. But and as I was going to move on to, and you have preempted. It's like you read my notes. Singing is your main thing. What is it that made you want to be a big show off that stands at the front?
Because I'm a big show off that likes to stand at the front. No,
that's fair enough.
Do you know? I don't know. I really don't know. I started off in music, and I wasn't a musician. I was actually writing and managing people. So I had a girl band that I was working with called Escapade, and I was writing for my singing teacher, or the girl who became my singing teacher. And that's actually one of the first songs I've got lined up. It's not actually me singing at all. It's one with Jo Burns singing that I co-wrote with her. So I had this girl band Escapade. It was fronted by Stephanie Lamoureux, who was a good friend of mine and turned out to be my girlfriend later on in years, and a couple of other girls. And I kind of put a band around it with Jim Taylor and a couple of other guys. And it kind of fell apart. We done loads of stuff with it. We took them up to Cafe de Paris and we're mixing with like Marty McCutcheons and all that sort of stuff, living the dream. That kind of fell apart. And one of the guys, Jim Taylor, rung me up and said, "Well, I want to put a band together. I want you to sing." And I was like, "I'm not a singer." He was like, "Every time you've written a song with Escapade, you sing it to them. You're a singer. Come and sing." So I did. 6 weeks later, we entered the Battle of the Bands at Redback Tavern in Acton, won the heat, and got through to the final.
Excellent work. I assume won the final as well, and then signed a record contract.
No, we came second in the final, and the only reason we came second in the final is because only 2 bands turned up.
Fair enough, but still a podium place, isn't it? And take that all day long.
I got my silver medal. It's hanging on the mantelpiece still,
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a good point as a break, and let's listen to that first song.
All right, wicked. So this is actually Jo Burns, or Jo Ballard as she is now. It's got Andy Marshall on guitar. It's got Dave Ruffy, who was in the Ruts, on the drums, and Stuart Waterman on the bass, I do believe. But yeah, It was a really good lineup. We recorded this in the studio in Soho.
Next door to me there lives a certain kind of man who lives by certain regulations when he can. He thinks that he is right, everybody else is wrong. The Father and the Savior taught him to be strong. Next door to him a lady of certain descent who thinks her people are the kind that heaven sends. The chosen few that think he just can't ignore, that war and independence are worth fighting for. A break through the window, a war across the fence. You act as though you hate each other's difference. When will you get to notice? When will you only see that you and him and her are really just like me? Next door to her a man born to simple life, his mind too close to comprehend the trouble and strife. Looks at all his neighbors and views them all the same. He knows that they were born like this, no one is to blame. A break through the window, a war across the fence. You act as though you hate each other's difference. When will you get to notice? When will you only see that you and him and her are really just like me? Look at all your neighbors, do them all the same. Know that they were born like this, no one is to blame. No one is to blame. A break through the window, a war across the fence. You act as though you hate each other's difference. When will you get to notice? When will you only see that you and him and her are really just like me? A break through the window, a war across the fence, a fire on your doorstep, just mindless violence. Forget about the wealth and class. When will you see the sense? Forget about the race and creed. Shake hands across the fence. Forget about the race and creed. Shake hands across the fence. Forget about the race and creed. Shake hands across the
There we are. That was Across the Fence by Joe Burns, penned by the lovely Ian.
Co-penned.
Well, mostly penned, I think we can all agree. So, early days, who were your main influences? Who did you want to emulate when you were songwriting?
When I was songwriting, I mean, I grew up on a weird mix of music, as I said, and I got into a lot of synthesized stuff like Jean-Michel Jarre, and Vangelis, people like that. And then someone played me Appetite for Destruction, and that kind of changed things for me. And I went through that sort of period of listening to a lot of that sort of glam and sort of classic metal, bands like Thunder and Guns N' Roses and Poison. Then got into slightly heavier stuff like Metallica, and then grunge happened. And suddenly, not everyone was singing with sky-high voices that I couldn't reach. There was growling and there was shouting and there was aggression, and I was feeling that. So it was kind of the grunge movement, really, that sort of pushed me into sort of accepting that maybe I could do something.
Excellent stuff. And, I mean, I famously do a live in an incredible version. I was witness to that at the jam that I went to. Thoroughly enjoyed it.
Thank you very much.
Is there a track that you particularly like singing? Is there one of those grunge era songs that just gets you by the jaffers and makes you go, yeah?
Do you know what, one of the songs that really does it for me is actually Screamager by Therapy, because
I've heard of it.
I just find it kind of cathartic. The band stops and you feel like, ooh, yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
I've just done that. That and I love singing it live. That's a great song. And we used to do Black as well. That's a great song to sing. So yeah, the Pearl Jam stuff I do love doing. I was actually, for a short while, in a band called Friends of Jeremy, which was a Pearl Jam tribute.
Excellent. Yep. Good stuff. So, before we came on, we started chatting and wasted some gold. So I'm going to go back to it. Talking about early days of home recording and first experiences in a recording studio.
Oh yeah, I mean, my first experience really recording was, as we were saying, was with a little Tascam 4-track cassette Porter studio. And, you know, it was wicked. You could sort of make these lovely songs and then slow it right down so the girl that was singing with you sounds like a bloke and things like that. It was a lot of fun to play with. But we recorded the first demos for what was then ultra high frequency. That's how it started. Over in Mill Hill Studios with Andy Marshall, who was the guy who co-wrote the previous track with me and Joe.
Yep.
So that was a lot of fun. And again, you know, your first time recording in a proper studio. This was before we could do this at home. Computers that could run GarageBand and stuff were limited. They didn't exist. You know, GarageBand didn't anyway. So it was a big deal. You know, you were in the studio and it was a party. You were living the life of a rock and roller at that point in time.
Never wanted to let it end, I'm guessing.
Yeah, totally. I think we spent. We've done 2 sessions of 3 days. And came out with about 6 songs, and it was just like, you know, you might as well have just got your first platinum album at that point in time. You know, it was just that good feeling.
And you did say that you did dig some of that stuff out, and we're not going to hear any of it tonight.
No,
which it is, I think we can all agree is a shame.
It's one of those things that, you know, at that time it was the best thing ever, and obviously I'm in this 20 plus years now, 24, 25 years I've been doing this, and you learn a lot along the way, and you maybe re-record some of the songs that were that old. One of the tracks being Sound of Thunder, and Sound of Thunder was a track that I wrote in an ex-girlfriend's house. She was out at work, I stayed there, it was pissing down with rain, it was literally a thunderstorm, and that's a song that stayed with me, and it's been played in pretty much every band I've played in. Many a jam night. We even had John Jagger turn up at the jam down the Fox and Pheasant one week, and he'd organised a whole band to cover the song, which was amazing. You know, I remember playing the Trinity Bar in Harrow, which was only a tiny little place. It probably had about a 50, 60 person capacity, with the tiniest little stage, and the band were all cramped in the corner. And Jim started playing the guitar, and before I could open my mouth, the crowd sung the song back to me, and it was just one of those moments where you think, bloody hell, what's this all about? You know, I'm just going to sit down and chill. I'm just going to go into the bar and get a drink. That lot can do the work. It was brilliant.
Just go full Robbie Williams on it.
Yeah, just let them do it. It's easier. It gives you a break.
Yeah, and they're having a good time. So, so following that, what was the next stage? You'd done some demo recording. Presumably you're out playing live fair amount. What was the next step?
So with frequency, ultra high frequency, there was a lot of lineup changes, and I'm not going to go into the reasons whys and wherefores, because
that'll be for next week's frequency special.
We've done the frequency special already, actually.
Yeah, but we need to hear all the lineup changes.
Yeah,
exactly.
No, we're not going to discuss some of that, because, you know, sometimes these things don't work out, and it's unfortunate. But, you know, friendships under that condition get stressed, and, you know, you move on, unfortunately. I have to say, the lineup of Frequency that recorded the album was the best lineup there could have been. And, you know, even listening back to it now, it still sounds as good as I remember it. That is one thing that does sound as good as I remembered it to be at the time. So,
I'll tell you what, let's have one of those tracks now then.
well, it had to be Sound of Thunder. As I said, I was going to play the original demo of this, and then I listened to it and thought, no, I'm not going to do that. So this is Sound of Thunder off of Swim with the Big Fish from Frequency.
I've been smoking all my cigarettes, been getting drunk with my friend Jack, going through this one more time again. One step forward, two steps back. I wonder if we'll ever talk again. The sound of thunder drowns out all my cries of pain, yeah. Bells will ring. You and I made sweet love, but then the closet door was open, 'cause I still fell from up above. Wonder if we'll ever love again. The sound of thunder tells me it's gonna rain again, yeah. Na 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 na. How could it be that the hand of peace could cause you so much pain, and your dreams are washed away by the devil's rain? Now another day ended. I've given all I got to give, and I'm sorry that it's over, 'cause I got my own life to live. And I wonder if we'll ever love again. The sound of thunder tells me it's gonna rain again, yeah. Na 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 na. Na 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 na.
There we are. That was Sound of Thunder.
Go on. Sorry, do your bit. Sorry.
So Sound of Thunder by Frequency, or Frequency, if you want to say it properly.
So there's actually a secret track on the end of that, but I'm not going to play it to you because it's secret.
Oh, interesting. If anyone does want to hear the secret track, was that on the album, or was that just your own?
Album, yeah. It's the last track of the album, so we left a bit of silence, and there's just a little bit.
As everyone always wanted to from being a kid onwards. And yeah, if anyone does want to hear that.
In the chat are just raising a glass to Jules and Steph, who were both on that, who have sadly left us far too early. We have lost a few people along the way, and that's always... music's always a powerful way of reminding you. Jules was playing the lead guitar there, and Steph was on all the backing vocals as well. So,
to both of them. But with slightly more levity, if you do want to hear the secret track, for £27.18, you can buy that on Discog.
Can you really?
Yeah, there is a copy available.
Paul is flogging it for a £5 from his garage, so I'd go down there instead.
Yeah, I'll just go there. Sure, mate. Get across, get a couple of copies. We'll stick them on Discog.
Yeah. Swimming with the big fish. Swimming with the big fish. There you go. There it is.
There it is. That is the album there.
I actually took that photograph in Lanzarote. Steph and I were out in Lanzarote on holiday, and at Costa de Gezi, and it's a lovely little bay in Costa de Gezi, where you could literally go out and all the fish would come up and swim around you. So I bought one of these cheap underwater cameras and just went in there, nicked some bread rolls from breakfast at the hotel, stuck them in, and went down to the bay and went swimming in the bay and just fed all the fish and took the camera out and took a load of photographs.
Nice work. Came out well. So obviously, having gone from demoing it and getting the demos, which you obviously thought were the greatest things in the world, that were going to make you superstars. You're out there gigging, I'm assuming flogging yourself around record labels in a time when that music just wasn't selling to people because they wanted Boyzone.
Yeah, I mean, this was 2004 that the album came out. A lot had gone on before that. There'd been 10 years of working on this band with different lineups and different songs and bits and pieces, and there's hundreds of demos available. Tim's probably got most of them on his YouTube channel.
Yeah, I mean, we are going to stick out the gold box, the reissues of all of that. It will be available through our store, FreakJam Records.
Never having airplay as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, and we've done 10 years of properly treading the boards. We were playing every shit venue in London. We turn up to gigs.
Tell you what's the shittest venue?
Sorry?
What was the shittest venue?
Oh, fuck. I can't remember the name of the place, but I remember turning up to one place, and it was tiny, and they booked, it was a 3 or 4 band showcase, and the room was kind of a U shape. So there was a wall down the middle of it, and the band had to play round in the U to the bar. You had about 5 or 6 foot from the front of the stage to the bar. So all the audience were round the corner behind a wall. So
Perfect.
It was one of the few gigs that we actually just grabbed the gear and went home.
That's fair enough. And the bar staff were gutted. Didn't get to see you.
Well, this is it, I think one of the saddest things we ever done, and again, I can't remember where it was East London somewhere. We all rocked up for a night at some showcase. We'd never played it before. We were doing a lot of showcases at that point in time, and it was always a case of take half day off work, get to London early, sound check at about 5 o'clock, and then go and find a Pizza Hut or a McDonald's and sit and talk crap for 3 hours before you had to get back to go on stage. But this was one of the rare times. It was our first time playing at this venue, and we were asked to play first, which was great for us. It means we could have a drink and fuck off like everyone else used to do to us. So we did, and we played, and one of the bands packed up their gear and walked out. And it was quite embarrassing at the time because, you don't want to do that. You don't want to sort of be pissing people off on the circuit. But, interesting times.
Yeah, but at the same point, it's their prerogative. They could man up and just play. So circuiting, doing all that normal stuff, and then you go into the studio, self-fund the album. How did that come about?
Well, we had a little bit of funding from, I think it was D4 Hang on, where's the CD? Put it down somewhere. It's here. I think it was D4 Entertainment, and they helped out. They helped with the pressing of the CD, and they also got us on the front cover of PowerPoint magazine and a few reviews. That's another interesting story. And the rest was funded by us, mainly by Little Ian, the bass player, Ian Mauricio, or Dobby, and the rest was chipped in what we could. So we spent, I think it was 7 or 8 days up at Punish Studios. People like Tom Jones had recorded there, Snow Patrol, Coldplay. So, it was a proper studio. It wasn't any sort of tin pot place. And what we done was I spent a load of time ringing around studios going, look, have you got any downtime you need to fill? Because quite often, if the studio's empty for a couple of weeks, at that point in time, they'd go, look, I just want to fill the studio and pay the guys, you can have it half price. So that's what we done. I spent a lot of time ringing around the studios, got this downtime, and we ended up for about 7 or 8 days in the studio at a cheaper rate than we normally would.
Excellent stuff. And now we need to hear the story about PowerPoint magazine.
Power Play magazine was.
PowerPoint would be a very different story.
PowerPoint would be a very boring magazine, yeah. So Power Play, it was like, it's not one that sort of made the shelves a lot, but it was like Kerrang and Metal Hammer and all that sort of stuff. But it was a bit more windy, but it had quite a large distribution across the world. So they D4 paid for us to have a track on the CD cover. On the CD, the old CDs on the cover of the magazine.
I used to love those things.
Yeah, they were brilliant. So we had a track on there, and as part of it, they reviewed the album. And then I get an email about 3 or 4 days before this is due to be released, saying, the reviewer really didn't like your album, and he's written a really scathing review, but because you paid to be on the cover of the magazine, what we're going to do is we're going to hand it over to another reviewer, and they've written a good review about your album, and we're going to publish both. And as I knew it at the time, Frequency was the only ever band to have 2 reviews, one really shit and one really good, in the same magazine.
So that is good. And also, obviously there's got something to it. If it's polarising people that much, then that can only be a good thing. You don't want to make music that everyone likes, because otherwise you're making music that everyone likes.
Well, this is it, and as I said, this was 2004, and we were still, I was still certainly caught in 1992 at that point in time. I was still wanting to write grunge music.
Never going to be a time to let that go, so...
No, certainly not.
So, all good. Right, I think it's time for another track.
All right, so in between the main article of Frequency and the sort of earlier lineups of Frequency, I also done some recording in a studio. And the next track is a cover, and this has actually got Nick Ronson on it. Now, Nick Ronson being the son of Mick Ronson, who was one of David Bowie's Spiders from Mars. So I was designing at this point in time a lot of stuff for EMI, including David Bowie's repackage and re-release, which they'd done in about 2000 or something like that. And I went in the studio, and Kevin Cann, who was the guy overseeing the project, was kind of like a godfather to Nick Ronson after Mick had passed away. And he asked, could he come to the studio with me one day? So I said, yeah. So we done this, and this is a version of Rebel Rebel, which is it's a bit of a dance floor anthem, to be honest. So, this is Rebel Rebel.
You
Oh, time to take a sip. That was, of course, Rebel Rebel 2000 by Ian Husbands. Awesome. Totally different take on the song. Really liked it.
Yeah, we wanted to do something different. I was working with a guy called Paul Miller. That was Jim Taylor, who's been on the Thursday Jam as well on the bass. He loved his slap bass. And I said Nick Ronson on guitar and another guy on guitar. We'll skip over that. It was just a lot of fun to do. I mean, Paul had a home studio in what's it called? Bungalow in Denham, New Denham. And it had subsidence, so his parents had to move out while the house was fixed. But we didn't strip the studio down, we left it up. So literally, while this house is subsiding around us, we've got all the rooms converted into recording. It was wicked.
Perfect. Great stuff. Right, so moving forward, I think it would be remiss not to talk about the Jam.
Yeah, I suppose so.
I mean, it's a huge thing that has brought many of the people who are here tonight into your life. Not everyone, of course. Some of them have been there for a long time before, but it's something that's very important to people. And tell me how it started. What got you the idea?
It wasn't my idea. I stole it, and that's the truth of the matter, really. So
yeah, but always publish the myth.
So Steph, who was in Ultra High Frequency with me and who I ended up being engaged to for quite a long time, she was doing a jam night with this guy called Nimmo. And Nimmo had a bit of a crush on Steph and had a tendency to go wherever she went. So she's doing this jam night with Nimmo. Steph gets a gig with a band called Red Rocket that she's in. So Nimmo decides to go to the gig rather than the jam night. Now, no one knows this. So myself, Paul Holland, who was doing the PA for the night, and some musicians and other people who were expecting this jam night to be on all rock up, ready for this jam night, and no one's there to organise it. No one's been booked. So Rob, the bar manager, turned around and said to me and a couple of the other guys, he said, do you want to do it? We're like, yeah, all right then. So we did. And that was it. He lost his job that night. And 20 plus 3 years, 24 years, whatever it is later, we've been through about 7 or 8 different venues, various different lineups, and we're still going. And you say, really, I've known a few people a bit longer, but not many. The jam night for me has really been the foundation of everything. My friendships, that's how I met Paul Holland, was through doing gigs and jam nights. He was our best man at our wedding. So a lot of the people, a lot of my closest friends have come through that jam night in some way.
Yeah, that makes complete total sense.
And Tony.
Yeah, right. Tell that story.
We spoke about it on Tony's special, actually. Literally Tony rocked up at jam night one night with Rob Burton, and we just got chatting. We sat at the bar and we were chatting about things. I was with someone at the time, and so was Tony. And we got chatting about music, about bands like Temple of the Dog and Mother Love Bone and Mad Seas and all these sort of grunge bands that were kind of behind the main ones that were just as good. And that was it. And then Tony started helping to manage Frequency. So we met up a bit more, and then one thing led to another, and I went through a bit of a bad patch with Steph. We ended up breaking up, and Tony was there, and
the rest is history.
The rest is history, as they say. Yes, indeed. Marriage and 2 kids later, and it's still going. So that's a good thing, right?
Absolutely, and you guys are super beautiful and cute together. So it's just another great thing that the Jam has brought us.
I don't know. I feel about cute, but yeah, it's just...
I don't know. You guys are pretty cute together. So over the years of doing the Jam, you say it's like 24 now,
something like that. Yeah.
I mean, we do need to work that out, because if that's true, then at some point we do need to have a 25th year big special event next year.
I considered doing it for 20, and then that never happened for whatever reason. And it's Tony says, "Oh, stop it." It's yeah. Do you know what? It's one of those things that for me, and this is going to sound a little bit weird, but it's not a big thing. it's been a part of my life for so long that if you take that away, it feels like I've lost my right arm. It's so, you know, counting the years and stuff like that, it's not important to me. The fact that it continues is what's important. You know, I know that this time has been difficult for everyone, and I've had a lot of thanks and a lot of praise for what we've done here with Radio FreakJam. But, you know, I have selfish motivations as well. You know, this isn't just for you guys, it's for me. It's, you know, because without my Thursday night, I'm lost. You know, I set this up for 8 weeks, really, to keep the jam night relevant over a time when we couldn't gig. And this thing has turned into a huge monster with its own personality. It's a big, fluffy, cuddly monster with big, long arms that likes to hug everyone. But it really has taken on a life of its own over this time.
But that is not to downplay the importance of it. Yeah, you're doing it for yourself, of course. However, we're all doing it for ourselves. The people who turn up to sit in the chat room are doing it for themselves. The people who are... I play every Thursday for myself because it gives me something to do on a Thursday. So there's absolutely no shame in the fact that you've created something which is...
It's not about shame, or I'm very proud of what we've done. You know, it's been an amazing ride, and it's just one of those things that, you know, for me is it's part of life, and it just is. It's just.
But what a beautiful thing to have as a part of your life.
Sorry?
But what a beautiful thing to have part of your life.
Oh, totally, no doubt about it. You know, everything with the jam night. You know, and I've been, you know, going through old demos and stuff tonight, and music brings back a lot of memories for me. And, you know, trying to think of some interesting stuff to say, but, you know, ultimately, this is just, it is part of me. It's, you know, and it's just one of those things that you don't take it for granted. I never take it for granted, because when it doesn't happen, I feel it. But, you know, it's what I am, it's what it is, it's what I do with it and we do together, if that makes sense. You know, it's been such a foundation in my life that, yeah, it's just not as... I don't see it as a big thing. I see it as what it should be, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I get that. Just taking a little bit step aside from that, songwriting, it's obviously something that's hugely important to you. You've done it for... Well, it's what you got into music for, was to write songs. Everything I hit about how you write songs, they are very emotional. What's your process? What is it? Do you get a kernel of an idea? Have you got something you want to talk about, or does the music lead its way?
It varies. I mean, I haven't written for a long time. I seem to have lost my thing, because I used to be able to sit down, pick up a guitar, and a song would be there. And I can't explain that. You know, it didn't take a lot of work or effort to find the chorus, to find the lyrics for the verses, work out the middle eight, the chord structure. It was kind of just a happening process. Now, I'm not the greatest guitarist in the world, so a lot of the time what I would do then would be take my basic chords and the vocals, I'd record that. If I had the facilities, I'd put some drums or something down, and I'd take it to a band. I mean, if I played you the original version of Mary, compared to the version that we've been playing from Frequency on the radio, you would see the huge difference in the track. So, you know, writing for me, it can be a very personal thing, but I also love getting it in front of someone else and getting a different perspective. So yeah, it varies. I mean, Tony and I work in a totally different way to how I'd work on my own. Tony's good at throwing out these really big ideas which might not work, but allows me then to sort of consolidate something into something that will work. So, you know, Tony's quite inspirational in her ideas. So yeah, it's really, really different per song. Sometimes I'll start with the drum groove. Sometimes I'll start with an idea for a bass line. Sometimes it'll be a chord pattern on a guitar. Sometimes it'll be a lyric. And then you make the music fit around that. So, yeah, I try all different ways. And I think as a writer, it's important that you do things different ways. Otherwise, you might end up in a rut.
Yeah, everything can end up sounding the same if you just use the one specific technique. Yeah. But I would say every song that you played us tonight has got a strong emotional backbone to it. There is a story and feeling behind it. You don't seem to be someone who just writes flippant, throwaway silly songs.
No, again, I was brought up from a songwriting point of view on grunge, and grunge threw away the whole sex, drugs, and rock and roll thing that the 80s had, all the big hair and the women and stuff like that. And grunge sort of took a much more realistic view on life. And I think that's where a lot of it comes from. I try and write songs from a perspective that I understand. But at the same time, I try and be ambiguous with the lyrics, because what I want as a writer isn't necessarily to tell you my story. I want you to be able to find something that you feel is in my story. Make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. No, totally get that. And actually on that, let's hear another one of your songs.
All right, so I've got Machine lined up from Frequency next, because again, this was kind of it was just a big deal with my life, really. Frequency, and one of the best things that's happened over lockdown is jumping in with Tim, Hayden, Little Ian, and Paul to do some new music, and that's been one of the highlights for me. So this is Machine. This is one of my favourites off the album.
To be free, don't deny the within. If you need your own 2 feet, don't hop behind the tails you spin. You're not the first to find the floor. I've been the several times or more. Be discreet or paint your smile. You'll be going out in style. Yourself up, dust up, love yourself. Hold your head out, wear a smile, love yourself. Pick yourself up, dust up, love yourself. Hold your head out, wear a smile, love yourself. World will want to know where you're down. If you want to talk with me, let's do it in some privacy. The time and place through everything. Still let those church bells ring. It's only now to tell the world you'll never read the down and the down. Be discreet or paint your smile. You'll be going out in style. Yourself up, that's up, love yourself. Hold your head out, wear a smile, love yourself. Pick yourself up, that's up, love yourself. Hold your head out, wear a smile, love yourself. The world will want to know when you're down. Going out in style. Pick yourself up, that's up, love yourself. Hold your head out, wear a smile, love yourself.
Sharp ending in that one.
Yeah, there we are. That's Machine, and that's an absolute banger.
Yeah.
There's I love the drive on that. The bass, the drums. Yeah, that's a lot of time.
That was the way the band was going, with the new lineup, with Hayden on board, because Hayden was the baby of the group technically. The sound was changing. We were going much towards that, because we had songs like "Take What You See" and "Down the Sound of Thunder," which were a bit more laid back and acoustic, and had that sort of country edge to them. But yeah, Machine was where we were headed, and thus, you've heard Mary. That would have been second album.
Yep. And you know what? Second album may still come. We don't know.
There is talk. We have got 2 other songs that we need to work on. Paul said he wasn't going to record the guitars until Lockdown 2, so here the fuck we are.
Electric Boogaloo, it's here. Lovely stuff. Right, so one of the things I did, I'm sorry guys, this is going to run long because we need to find out more about Ian. He's a man who sits on the side and facilitates all of us on a weekly basis. And it's time we spent a bit of time finding out about him. He's very good at finding out about us and asking us how we are and what we're doing and things like that. So you guys can all stick with us for a bit longer.
Sure, I won't mind. They've only got work in the morning.
Yeah, most of them don't. Lazy. No, one of the things I did was go out and reach out to a few people and ask for ideally embarrassing stories or funny stories to try and make you squirm a little bit. And the thing which actually came back from everyone was there aren't actually that many. There's a huge amount of kindness and love and support for you. And one of the ones
surprised, Phil.
I know, it's weird because I imagine if this was the other way around, Jesus. but yeah, the one of the ones that really stuck with me was David Bryce, who told me a story about which actually you changed his life in a way. Which is, he said that you worked with Brian, who is the bassist of Spider.
Yep. And
they completely lost touch. And then you met him at a jam night, and
thanks to Tim,
gave him the number of Brian in France, and were basically hassled him into calling him. And as a result, he's in touch with his band again for the first time in years.
Yeah,
and
that happened.
There's lots of that. There's lots of lovely actions and altruistic actions that come out there, and that's really rare, particularly within music. I don't know if you know this, but especially as a frontman, you're supposed to not do that sort of thing and be all about yourself. So,
look, I don't consider myself to be the greatest musician on this planet. I'm certainly not the greatest vocalist. I mean, you've only got to look at Templeton Peck. Everyone in that band sings. I work with good people. I think that is the secret to any of this. Is find yourself good people to be in a band with. People who are slightly better than you, because they will pull you up. They will lift you to their level. And, realise that these people are better than you. It keeps you a bit humble. It keeps your feet on the floor. I think that's the easiest way of putting it. Find some good people to work with. Because if the band's not working, it's not worth having.
Yeah, absolutely. But also your role within that band is to facilitate those people to get the best out of them. And I think you're extremely talented at that. You have a knack of pulling people out of themselves and raising their talent.
Yeah. I don't mean to sort of... I struggle with this, I see it as the human thing to do. I don't see it as something special. I see it as something we should all be doing. We should all be lifting each other up. We should all be helping. I had a lot of support when I started out from people like Joe Burns and Bart Foley and Dave Ruffy, and Mick White. Lots of bands that I'd spent time with down the Redback and Acton. They'd get me up to do a song. They'd help me out. They'd teach me things. They'd give me advice. And the way I see it is, especially with the jam night, it's my way of giving that back. It's passing it on. It's passing it forward.
Yeah, no, I absolutely think that's true. But I don't think it's normal. I don't think there's that many people,
Well,
although it should be. There's not that many people who, when given the opportunity to stand in front of a microphone, will say, come and share this with me. And I think that's a really special thing, and something which, I have huge respect for the fact that you do that so naturally.
Again, you know, I can sit here and I can pick up a guitar and I can play music to my heart's content. That's not what gives me the buzz. What gives me the buzz is entertaining people. And the best way to entertain people is in a group. You can't do it on your own. I can go on stage and I can sing and I can play guitar badly. I couldn't do what you do on a Friday night, Phil. I would not
just
be comfortable with
describe
that at all.
what I do on a Friday night.
You know, the films. No, sorry. When you play your acoustic set, that's not who I am. You know, I can play guitar, yes, but Andy, Tim, Paul, Jules, Kev, and all the people that I've been really, really lucky to work with, they do it better. So let them do it. Let them be a part of this experience that I'm having, because it makes my experience better.
Yeah, I get that. And to be fair, having seen some of those guys on Saturday and Wednesday, it's like they play a different instrument to me. I mean, phenomenally talented.
Yeah,
but we're not here to play smoke up their arse.
I mean, Josh can go and pick up any instrument and just play it. He makes me sick. I want to drag him out in the car park and kick shit. No, I don't. But I'm not that person. I have to work really hard to do that sort of stuff.
But you are completely comfortable in that environment next to someone who is that incredibly talented, and you can raise that talent, which is a special thing to have.
A piece of advice that I got given very early on doing this was that if you are not on that stage for yourself, don't go on that stage. Because if you are not on there for you, then you're not on there for the punters. And you're not going to be in the right headspace to be on that stage for the people who are watching, for your audience. Because, there's no point in doing it for someone else if you don't want to do it for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And it can be mislabeled as arrogance, and I don't think it is. Getting up there and having a good time and wanting to entertain people is actually, for me, the opposite of arrogance. It's wanting to share your good time with as many people as you possibly can.
Yeah, totally. That's what it's all about. I think Wispy explains it the best. It's about the entertainment, not necessarily about the musical skill sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell you what, let's have another track.
All right, so after Frequency, that all went a little bit weird, and we packed it up, and I moved on, and I went through what can only be described by the band name, which was an 8-month malfunction. My life was up in the air. I lost my missus, I lost my band, I lost where I was living. It all went off. I lost my job as well. It all happened, and I took a sabbatical. I booked 2 weeks with my redundancy money down in Dorset, Devon, somewhere down there. And I booked a cottage, and I took my 4-track, and I had a laptop at the time, and an acoustic guitar, and I went and wrote some songs. And I came back and presented them to Nadie, who was helping me out at the time. She was just going through a record deal, and she showed them to a guy that was a mate of hers who had a publishing company. And suddenly I had a publishing deal with Electric Horse Songs for 3 songs. And I got paid for writing songs. It was like, whoa, I could do this for a living. I just did. So that was cool. So this is one of the tracks. We've done 3 tracks. We've done Mourn, we've done Hurting, and we've done Undecided, which I played the video to the other week. But this was Hurting. This was probably my favourite. It's another banger from that point of view. So yeah, this is 8-month Malfunction with Hurting.
Listen to these words I say, I mean them all. No deception and no lies, no hidden agenda. Even though it would make things easier, still it comes as no surprise. or me. We're not where we want to be. We've been chasing our tails too long. Sometimes it's good to go it alone. I know it's hurting and it's so painfully clear. We'll chase our tails no more. Hoping life will open up new doors. I know it's hurting and it's so painfully clear. Sometimes I'm angry, other times I want you to hold me. No protection from my mind. What was eternal fades to a drop in the ocean. Say I'll thank you over time. Now you or me, we're not where we need to be. We've been chasing our tails too long. Sometimes it's good to go it alone. I know it's hurting and it's so painfully clear. We'll chase our tails no more. Hoping life will open up new doors. I know it's hurting and it's so painfully clear. Now you and me, we're not where we need to be. And time will heal, you'll see. But for now it's hurting and it's so painfully clear. Chasing our tails too long. Sometimes it's good to go it alone. I know it's hurting and it's so painfully clear. We'll chase our tails no more. Hoping life will open up new doors. I know it's hurting and it's so painfully clear. We've been chasing our tails too long. Sometimes it's good to go it alone. I know it's hurting and it's so painfully clear. We'll chase our tails no more. Hoping life will open up new doors. I know it's hurting and it's so painfully clear.
There we are, Hurting by 8-Month Malfunction. 8-Month Malfunction.
Try saying that when you're pissed.
Yeah, I will. In about 10 minutes. That was absolutely cracking.
Cheers, by the way.
Yeah, cheers.
And to everyone in the chat room. It's nice to see everyone.
Yep.
Thank you for coming out and playing tonight.
Happy Monday.
That is a banging track. And again, that just started off as me sitting down with an acoustic. And I think Tony just mentioned in the chat room there's a really, really nice version of this, an acoustic version of this, with Nady singing backing vocals, because I stayed with Nady for a while, and we used to sit in the night and drink and play the Pro Tools and stuff like that, writing songs, and there's a lovely version of that somewhere. I think Andy might have played acoustic on it as well, if I do remember rightly.
That's a possible one for Ian to Electric Boogaloo. But no, so you had a publishing deal.
Yes, yeah, and then I had a child, which really is why I stopped. The publishing deal was lovely to have, and again, it was wonderful to get the support. And they took me out, and they bought me an outfit, and they bought me this. I mean, this necklace, it cost about 250, 300 quid from the Great Frog in Camden. And they bought me that, and they bought me a cowboy hat and ripped jeans and sunglasses, and they took me out. We done photo shoots. You've probably seen the photos on my YouTube channel and stuff.
Yep.
And it was a lot of fun. It really, really was, and it actually felt like I was doing music for a living. You know, Joe Webb was absolutely fantastic. He's the guy who produced Nady's album and my stuff as well. And I've got some demos. There's a track called Broken, which was never finished, which is absolutely fantastic. There's another piano track from that called Don't, which was really nice as well. And the whole idea of it was if Eddie Vedder and Trent Reznor were to have a love child, that would be 8 Month Malfunction.
Yeah, which I can hear that. There's definitely an Eddie Vedder nest to the way you sing.
Yeah.
There's a clear influence there. But yeah, no, I can absolutely get that, and I'd actually love to hear more of that. There's that's an exciting prospect. So before we go back in time, let's go future in time. You are back playing with a new excellent band, Templeton Peck.
Yes.
I believe that there's definitely going to be some more action where they're concerned, because frankly they are fucking phenomenal. Like, without blowing smoke up your ass, how many times do you practice?
We had 3 rehearsals.
That 3 rehearsals for those two, that's fucking unbelievable.
You know, in all fairness, from the point of view of myself and Brad's, a lot of those songs we've done with From the Ashes or at jam nights before. Same with Josh. You know, Josh is Deptford From the Ashes. Same with Rob. He's Deptford From the Ashes. So a lot of the stuff we could pick up and just roll with. You know, songs like Highway to Hell and Sweet Home Alabama, you know, we've been playing them long enough, we don't need to rehearse. But the real superstar of that show was Oggy. No doubt about it. He'd never played bass on a gig before. Now, neither had I, and I'd done one song. Oggy done most of the set. And fair play to him, within 3 rehearsals, he got it down. And yes, it wasn't perfect on the night. We all know that. But, you know, from where we were to start with, when Oggy, I've never seen him panic before in my life. But the guy was panicking. He was nervous about this. And to what he done on the night, it was just fantastic. And then obviously over onto the Wednesday as well. So, you know, Oggy was the superhero from that point of view.
But so I brought a friend down with me, Simon, who you guys all had a chance to meet afterwards, and I will be bullying into doing Thursday nights.
Awesome.
But he has no emotional attachment to any of you, had never met any of you before, and is a massive muso. And his consistent take home from throughout the set was, "Fuck me, these guys are tight. They are good." And then when I told him, I thought you had like 4 or 5 practices. I said, "Yeah, they've only played together. I think this is like their 5th or 6th time." He was like, jaw on the floor. But yeah, what's the plan there with Templeton Peck? When's World Domination taking place?
Well, look, I mean, to start with, the reason I think we were so tight on the night isn't because we've had 3 rehearsals. I think it's because of jam nights. And I think this is what I would encourage everyone to do more jam nights. The more you can get up and play and do things with different people, the easier it makes it when you get with a bunch of people you kind of know and can kind of do something with. So, you know, jam nights are really good from that point of view. But with Templeton Peck, the future, I mean, obviously the future is really defined with Templeton Peck by Wigwam. You know, we don't do anything without Wigwam's say-so. So what we're really doing is waiting on our next interstellar message from space, from Wigwam, to tell us what we're doing next. But
that's fair enough.
There
I think we
was
can all
a
look forward to that.
communication saying that there was possibly going to be a reopening of Bumble's gig. But Wigwam hasn't confirmed, so...
Well, I look forward to hearing more about that, as will everyone in the chat room.
Josh just said in the chat room that actually, you know, that I forgot about that. We are planning the full-length feature film. It's going to be a bit like the Beatles' Yellow Submarine meets The Shining.
So both terrifying. I believe that there has been a spotting of Wigwam's ship orbiting as well, so that'll be interesting.
Yes, Wigwam's ship has been around recently, so yes, we'll just have to wait and see. As I said, you know, Templeton Peck's fate is defined by him.
How about your other musical projects? Any Any plans to move any of those forward?
Well, I said we've got a couple more frequency tracks in process. We've got the bassist down. I need to do vocals. Paul needs to play some guitar, and then obviously got to get them mixed and mastered. We are, Josh, aren't we, Josh? Probably releasing a new song this Monday, actually, which is a song I wrote during the last lockdown all those years ago, called "Pass the Bottle." It's a lockdown track, obviously. And I kind of worked on that, and we ended up, during lockdown, popping over the studio a couple of times, and we got McGregor on drums, Josh is on bass, Andy's on acoustic guitar, Tim is on rhythm guitar and lead guitar. We got Max Hunt, who done the Splendid Isolation keys. He's on the keyboards, and I'm doing the vocals and bits and pieces. So yeah, hopefully that's going to... Oh, Tony's singing on that as well. So
oh, lovely.
Yeah. So hopefully that's going to be mixed this week. Joshua, just saying Joshua.
Excellent. And there's no pressure, Josh. Take as long as you want, because we're in lockdown. We need something to look forward to. But, no, excellent. I'll tell you what, let's go to another track before our last 7 instalments.
Right. So do you want... Because I've got quite a few tracks lined up. So sort of musically, we're moving into myself and Tony and Andy becoming Eighth Month Malfunction. The deal went when we had kids. I stopped doing the live stuff because it wasn't paying. It was taking up a lot of time, and obviously I wanted to focus on my children. So 8 Month Malfunction become a bit of a living room studio project. So you can either have a protest song, you can have a reminiscing type song, or you can have a drinking song.
Well, I say we finish our drinking song tonight, so let's go with a protest song, because it seems apt.
A protest song. All right, I'm going to play a video for this then.
Lovely.
So this is the lyric video I've done for this track. This is a track called This Ain't Home. I'm playing ukulele on this, yeah? So
multi-instrumentalist.
Yeah.
I see their faces and they're staring back at me. Their blank expression shows their tortured apathy. Trapped in rat races for their meek prosperity. Look around, you'll find this ain't home. Remember yesterday we had our liberties, but it seems we gave them up to new nobility. A thriving nation that's been brought down to its knees. Look around, you'll find this ain't home. children see as all the debris clears. Do you think they will call it home? Do you think they will call it home?
There we are, guys. That is This Ain't Home by 8 Month Malfunction. Which, yeah, excellent.
Sarah was seen on that as well, just to sort of point out. And we had
Yes, yeah, the lovely Sarah Brandon Harris.
and we had Paul Miro playing the bass and that weird Russian instrument and stuff like that was in there as well.
Yeah, no, excellent stuff. I was quite surprised by that because you're famously a big Tory who loves Boris Johnson. So
Me, yeah, totally, famously. This is the stitch up, right? I get it.
that's now on record.
Promoting the fact I'm some mad Tory.
Yeah, that seems unlikely, in all honesty. A tertiary Google would prove that's not right.
Isn't that the truth?
But anyway, let's pulling it back into. Actually, do you know what? Let's go on down that thread. You've been someone who's not been backward on coming forward with your opinions over the past few months, and someone who I would certainly consider to be fighting the good fight for musicians, artists, and just people. A lot of people shy away from that and don't want to say things that could be construed as controversial. But you're perfectly happy to step out there on occasion when you think you're right.
I think, we've all got platforms like Facebook and Twitter these days, and, we can use them to promote music, we can use them to promote cat videos. But sometimes I think there is a really good use in expressing an opinion. Now, I know a lot of people disagree with this. I know a lot of people haven't got the time for this or the want to engage with people over a lot of this stuff. But sometimes I'm a man who thinks things need to be said. And I'll do that in song, and I'll do that to your face if I think that I can maybe make a difference. And I think with anything like that, you've got to understand that sometimes you're going to be preaching to the choir. Sometimes you might make someone rethink their options. Sometimes you're just going to get anger back at you. But yeah, again, for me, this is beyond party politics. If we want to talk politics, I don't really support any party at the moment. I find myself politically homeless because I don't find any of them worth it, to be honest. But, it's all about doing the right thing. And I struggle when we've got people who have been sacked from their jobs several times for lying, who have committed adultery, have got children they don't even see. If you think about that and how you were brought up, that's not the sort of person you were taught was a good person. And this is the people we've got leading the country.
Yeah, I mean, if it was one of your mates, he'd be the bloke who just keeps on turning up at the pub and you go,
he's a bit of a dick.
But then it's just Boris. And yeah, you're right. I don't think we should accept that as a standard for our country. But this isn't the platform to talk about that. This is the platform to talk about you, Ian. And
we can talk about this all night if you want to.
Yeah, we'll do that off. We'll do that off.
Religion, speak out of that.
But no, do you know what? I think it's important, and it would be really easy for someone who is, whether you like or not, hosting a popular show on, who is a famous YouTuber at this point, to shy away from that kind of thing. And I think it's actually testament to you that you don't, and you will share your opinions, and you will also take other people's opinions on board and debate with them rather than just spitting vitriol back at them. And
there's no
there should be
point
more
getting
of that.
nasty. Everyone's entitled to their opinion on religion, politics, race, whatever. But there does come a point where you've got to sort of draw a line and say, this is where I stand on this. And if you're going to challenge that, I'm going to talk to you about it. Yeah.
But you always do it in an articulate way. And I've got a huge amount of respect for that.
Thank you.
But back to the music. So we're going to have one more track before we go to our big grand finale, which is going to... Oh, you're going to squirm something good.
I don't squirm. You should know this by
Oh,
now.
you're gonna squirm. But the question I have for you is: what is the thing in music that has made you most proud?
Honestly, it's the jam night. I've done a lot of stuff, but what makes me so proud of the jam night, and I think Cindy touched on this when she was co-hosting. You know, out of the jam night, we've seen relationships, my own included. We've seen children, my own included. We've seen other bands, relationships, friendships, and all sorts of things happen from this jam night. And I think, again, you know, my thing with the jam night has always been it's our opportunity to give something back. And when you give something back and you are given the reward of seeing it working and seeing these good things come out of it, I think that's got to be the highlight. I've done a lot of things. I've played in front of 5,000 people. I've met famous people. I've designed for David Bowie, for fuck's sake. You know, they're all good things. But the jam night's been going for so long. It's become an institution. It's become a family. And it's one I wouldn't want to give up for the world. So I think the jam night really is the longest standing thing I've done that I've actually seen real results with people from. So, yeah.
Right, play a song.
So do you want? Well, I'll give you the choice. So you've got the sort of the reminiscent type song. You've got the
that sounds
drinking
appropriate
song, or we've got Mary if you want to play that. So
do you know what? I think we finish on Mary and we play a drinking song because a lot of people in that chat room are drinking.
well, there is. Okay, so this is the track. Again, it's myself, Andy, Tony, Paul Miro. It's called Taken Away, and it's about pubs closing down, so it's kind of very relevant at the moment. You know, unfortunately,
Far too relevant, sadly.
Best thing, we were driving past the Fox and Pheasant where I started the jam night, or continued the jam night many years ago, and it's now a Tesco's. And Tony turns round to the kids in the back of the car and says, "That's where I met your dad." And a little voice comes from the back, goes, "What, in Tesco's?" And we had to explain.
Yeah, bread aisle.
So that's the one that our eyes met over the freezer cabinet. So yeah, this is all about that. This is all about sort of driving past those venues that used to play out and seeing they're now a pub or a McDonald's. So this is Taken Away.
Bring on the whiskey, yeah, bring on the beer. It's time for the stage, but there's no one to hear. The sign of the times, just one more bar that is closing down. Just one more drive through the overpriced food. I remember the days that we played this venue. Now the stage is the kitchen. Just one more bar that is closing down. Where are the bands gonna play? Are the pubs selling out to be just one more takeaway? Where will the bands fly their trade when all other venues have been brought up? The farmer's turned into a clown. Now he's surfing upside where he wanted the sound of some great indie bands in a bar that seems to be closing down. Where are the bands gonna play? Are the pubs selling out to be just one more takeaway? Where will the bands fly their trade when all other venues have been taken? Where are the bands gonna play? Are the pubs selling out to be just one more takeaway? Where will the bands fly their trade when all other venues have been?
People are missing, the chillers run dry, the smokers all huddle outside tonight. The neighbors complaining, property's booming, but how will the band survive? Hey! Hey!
And just up the road there's a warm living room. They offer a drink in return for a tune. Our audience bound, so we play. Our music can't be closed down. Where are the bands gonna play? Are the pubs selling out to be just one more takeaway? Where will the bands fly their trade when all other venues have been taken? Where are the bands gonna play? Are the pubs selling out to be just one more takeaway? Where will the bands fly their trade when all other venues have been taken away? Taken away.
That is Taken Away by
And they
8
have.
Month Meltdown.
They are.
Again. Yeah, they are. And actually, more so than ever. I made a note of that whilst writing. The venue closure is such a massive issue. It was before this, and even more so now.
Mate, it's devastating. It really is. And seriously, This Ain't Home is all about. It was inspired by driving through Hayes, where I grew up, and realising how much it had changed, and how the people I used to know and recognise were no longer there, and how as a child it felt like my home was paved in gold, and it's not as an adult. You see the cracks,
Yeah.
And it's the same with venues now. I literally can drive past so many venues in this area that I've played in, which are no longer venues. They're probably not even pubs anymore. They're Tesco's, they're McDonald's, they're drive-through Kentucky Fried Chickens, and it's really, really sad.
Yeah, no, I have similar stories, and one of my favourite gigs of all time was at a venue in Camberley, which is now a big chain pub that doesn't support live music. And sadly, they look to be the things that are going to survive this, when all of the great, important venues are going to potentially go to the wall. And I think this is more important than ever, that people, when they can, get back out and start supporting these local small venues.
This is it, and kind of this is where I started these Monday sessions. If you've got the money, I know we're all tight and it's all a struggle at the moment, but please support musicians. Buy albums, buy merchandise, anything you can do to keep these musicians and their crews and their teams and the venues supported, because we don't want to lose everything that we've got. Music, video, film, TV, acting, it's all supported us through this lockdown. That
100%.
just goes to show how viable the industry really is.
Yeah. And you think about it, so the fact that there was no support for such a long time, and you think, has anyone in the entire country, has anyone got through this pandemic without engaging with some kind of art? And I mean, art, it's a broad church, and stand up I 100% consider to be in there as well.
Yeah, totally.
And these are industries which are struggling and have seen me through some of my worst times, and I'm sure I've seen you through some of their worst times. And yeah, it's a worrying state of affairs to be in.
I've had my dark days through these times, and we done the gig Saturday, and I think I was on a high for about, I don't know, I probably still am, to be honest. But Tony did text me and comment on my mood and how it had changed, and mentioned that music was magic, and it really, really is. It can invoke tears, it can invoke happiness, it can bring back a load of memories, and I think music through this time, which is why we do what we do, is very, very important.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions now, and then we're going to return to that point, because I think it's actually a very salient and valid point. So I've got a pointy question for you now.
Ooh.
Who is your favourite, over the past 24 years, your favourite act you've seen at FreakJam?
Oh, fucking hell. Do you know what? There was this bloke came down, played bagpipes. He was really good. Everyone, anyone who graces us with their presence and walks through the hallowed halls of the FreakJam, I'm very, very appreciative of. I don't have favourites.
Fair enough. Who is the person who you spotted on stage and went, yeah, they're going to do it?
Really, is my mate Paul Miro. The guy, he's just a truck when it comes to songwriting. Everything he writes is a hit. And he doesn't get the exposure that he deserves, and I put a lot of time into helping him with his promo and his graphic design and bits and pieces like that. And it really does sadden me, because if he can't do it, then it doesn't give us hope for the rest of us.
Yeah, when the really talented people fail.
Again, lockdown has been a wonderful time to find new music. I mean, literally loads of stuff. I've got something like 21 hours of music sat here, which I've literally built up over the lockdown. From bands like Crash Transit, which have been a big hit. The songs like 900 Quid, which we've all grown to love. There's been some absolutely awesome music come through these past few months.
Yeah, and you know what? The Monday night sessions have been awesome, and I don't know if I always watch them live, but I always watch them back. And yeah, I found some really great stuff that I'm like, this is a fucking banger. I should be listening to more of this sort of stuff. And yeah, it blows me. Again, makes me feel inadequate, but that's a totally different story.
I've been very lucky, and with who I've got to know over the past 25 years. From people like Paul Holland, who's been my right hand man at the Jam for all these years and longer. To people like Ian Blackwood, who was a YouTuber who works with Walk Off the Earth. He's Sarah's brother from Walk Off the Earth.
Yep.
I met up with him, and we chat a lot. We get together over these times, and it was great to catch up with him and listen to him play. I'd never heard him play live, so when he'd done that on the show, that was the first time I'd actually heard him play live.
Awesome. And I think everyone has this concern of what is the future of the Jam.
Well, look, I mean, who knows? Obviously, again, this was started as a stopgap for the Jam. And the full intention, I think, from everyone involved is to get back out and do this live. That is where it's at for me. I've loved what we've done for 33 weeks, 34 weeks, whatever it is now. It's been amazing.
87 years.
87 years, but it's not quite as amazing as Saturday night was, as Wednesday night was. I want to see you guys in person. I want to chink a beer with you. I want to give you all a cuddle, and I want to thank you all for everything that you've done for us during this time, all this sort of stuff. And I want to get back to sharing a stage with people rather than sharing a screen.
And for legal reasons, I can say that no one actually cuddled on either Saturday or Wednesday.
No, obviously, I said I want to get back to that. I didn't say we've done any of that.
Yeah, and we all look forward to actually doing that. Well,
yes, totally, yes.
But the Jam is a really special place. It's a really special family, and I think family is the right word for it.
Definitely. Look,
follows...
Paul, as I said, Paul's been my right hand man, and Cindy's in the chat room, and Cindy and Ryan and Sean have called me Uncle Ian or Uncle Wookie for years. And it really, the whole Jam, have become my family, my extended family, and it's a pleasure to be a part of.
Yeah, and it's one big, great family. And one of the nicest things about the Templeton Peck World Tour, and what a tour it was personally, getting up on stage, fuck me, there was the greatest feeling. And thank you so much for asking.
Again, mate, you've been with us every fucking week, and even when you said you couldn't, you turned up pissed out of your nut and couldn't get on and struggled, but you made it and you played, and
we got there.
You've been, as much as you are very new to the family, you have been a really, really welcome addition, as is Sarah, to what we're doing. And, I hope it carries on when we are back out there doing it properly. Oh,
100% it will. But the lovely thing, which I think we talked about it on either Saturday or I'd had a drink, Saturday or Wednesday, was I definitely had the chat with brothers, which is that we didn't feel in meeting each other for the first time, and most of us meet each other for the first time, certainly a large portion of that crowd being the first time they met several people, it didn't feel like the first time we met. It felt like we'd known each other for years, and that's really special.
I think, and again, this Radio FreakJam has allowed us to talk to people. It's one of the things I've really noticed over this time is that we go to jam, we're all hyped up, we sing, we dance, we play. I don't dance, but we sing, we play music, we drink a bit, we chat a bit, and then every 3 songs, I'm gone. I'm back up on stage, I'm introducing the next act, I'm sorting things out like I do. So conversations are often cut short. And it's only, talking to Richard Carr from the Mooseman the other day, and he's got some stories to tell. And it's like, I never knew this. This man has partied with Soundgarden. And I'm highly jealous of this fact,
Yeah.
And this is what this has allowed us to do a bit more.
Yeah, no, it's been lovely. It's been beautiful. And on that note, I would request you play the video that I sent you earlier.
Okay, I'll have to line this up. You're the boss. I'm doing what I'm told. There we go.
There we are. This is a project I put together over the past couple of days. And it is just something I feel that you should see.
Well, thank you very much. I'm going to watch it now then. Bye.
Hello, Uncle Wiki. So Phil has been conspiring that your FreakJam friends sent in a video to thank you for what you've done over the last 8 months. So I know better than most people how important the Jam Night has been. It's been around for most of my life. You and my dad have been out every Thursday doing this Jam Night, and from it friendships have been built that have lasted decades. Bands have been formed. People have become musicians and found talent that they didn't know they had. Marriages have come out of the Jam Night, and the swathe of children that have followed.
Hi Phil, hi Ian. Just a quick thank you for FreakJam for keeping everyone together, keeping the music live, and for all the years of songwriting and love of music. I hope you had a great show. Bye.
Ian, we wanted to say thank you for everything you've done over the last 6 months, keeping us all sane, running the jam and all that sort of stuff.
Here.
Yeah, anything you guys want to say?
Happy birthday.
Keep doing it until we're out of lockdown. Then keep doing it some more. Then keep doing it some more, because we'll help. Fair play, mate.
Cheers, Ian.
Nice one, boss man. Thank
Good
you.
health.
I've got to be honest, going back in your time machine to get beer from 2019 before the pub shut has got to be one of the best uses of a time machine I've ever seen.
That wasn't a bad show, was it, really?
No. The only thing I can get my head around is why didn't you go back to like the 1980s when it was £1 a pint?
Hi everyone, just wanted to say a massive thank you to Ian and Tony for everything that you've done for us over this difficult time. You've been the constant in my life, as you always have been for the last 6 years. It's great to know you. Everything you do is amazing.
Hi Ian.
Hi Ian. Hope you're enjoying your evening. All about you. Very much deserved.
So this is my message for Ian. I just can't even thank you enough. The last 7-8 months have just been incredible. I've met the most amazing people.
Hi Ian, Saz here. If you're watching this, it means I'm dead. Not really. It means that you're watching a bunch of videos from people who all want to thank you for all your hard work and friendship and for being an all-round awesome guy and brilliant human being. So thank you very much.
Hi Ian, just wanted to say a huge thank you for doing the jam every week over the last number of months.
Hello Ian, you big legend. Thank you for all that you have done for all of us, not just for me, but for everyone that we see on Thursdays and Monday nights, and the people that you probably saw on the Saturday and Wednesday night of Templeton Peck's gig.
You're just amazing. I know you'll never believe it, but hopefully some of us will make you realise just exactly what FreakJam means to us, because it's just incredible.
Hi Ian, I just want to say a huge thank you for everything you've done with FreakJam over the however long lockdown's been going on for. It's made such a massive difference to not only me but everyone else that takes part in the weekly sessions, either joining in or watching.
Ian, I just want to take this moment just to thank you. You created this monster, that Radio FreakJam. It's absolutely fantastic.
For the last, 7 months, you've been a tower of strength and support to so many other people as well, and helped so many people through what has been a very difficult time. but has brought so much joy, fun and pleasure and good music to people's homes on a weekly basis.
Yeah, it was tough, and I'm usually an optimistic and positive person, but I was struggling, and FreakJam changed that. Apart from, for a start, it gave me a structure for the week, just a sense of knowing what day of the week it was. Just being able to write on our weekly wall planner in the kitchen, Thursday, jam night, just helped know where I was for a start, rather than just every day stay at home, apart from Friday, which said I'm in love, also stay at home.
With lockdown having forced FreakJam to go online, where Ian nurtured a community to come together and support each other through music and laughter. Then, just as we were able to come together and return to Mr. Bumbles, the door was once again slammed shut, and Ian resumed his post, steering the ship on the waves of the internet.
I've mentioned a few times how great it's been just having something like the jam to look forward to and all the laughs in the chat every week, and it's really, really helped me through lockdown.
Taking part and seeing everyone else that joins in with it has inspired me to be a better musician, and entertainer, and to think creatively again. It's now the highlight of my week. The positivity and the support from the FreakJam community that you've brought together is amazing. FreakJam has changed my life, and it's given me my spark back, which is probably a good thing, I think.
And just to echo what Sarah said, the last 7-8 months of doing the jam night on a Thursday online has been absolutely fantastic. It's given something for people to look forward to on a Thursday.
So thank you very much. It's a real testament to your dedication, your talent and your ability to bring people together.
We all really appreciate it.
It's maybe the best thing that's come out of this lockdown COVID situation. You've able to keep the music community together, you've given people an outlet. And basically it's all thanks to you. I mean, everybody who contributes is part of this fantastic thing, but really, you started it, and I want to say thank you.
Massive, massive thank you, mate. Keep up the good work. We all appreciate it. I appreciate it so, so much.
We just want to thank you.
Thank you from the bottom of my heart. You're just a legend.
Cheers. And that reminds me, you really are like a good bottle of wine. Gets you pissed, goes well with cheese, and doesn't belong in the fridge.
We all appreciate everything that you guys do, and we know that it takes an awful lot of work, and we really, really, really love it. Keep being awesome.
So at these hard times, my thoughts go out to Tony and their family, and what? Really? Are you sure? He's not? So why the hell am I doing this then?
And it makes a difference, so I can never thank you enough for that. So, cheers.
Thank you, Ian.
We love you, Ian. We do. We love you, Ian. We do. We love you, Ian. We do. Oh, Ian, we love you.
And that track, get down there.
Thanks a lot, guys. That was just a small section of the FreakJam lot who sent in a little video to say thank you. And I'm going to send you across the rough cuts of everything because I had to edit it down to under 40 minutes. But there's a lot of words that you need to hear from those people that aren't necessarily in there, that there is so much love for you in this community and for what you do for all of us. So on behalf of all of us, thank you so much for doing it and putting your time and your effort in.
Look, quite seriously, you are all very, very welcome. And to be honest, I've struggled with this a little bit. Coming back to this was an 8-week project in my mind, and this wasn't meant to be. It wasn't meant to be its own thing. It was just a filler. It was a B-side. Do you know what I mean? This has become its own album, and I'm very proud of what it's become. I'm very proud of you guys as well for joining in every week, for showing the creativity that you've had, and for making it what it is. I take on board now just how important this has become to you guys, and I promise you that this is going to continue. Even when we're back, even when we're out live, I will continue a Monday night show. We'll do something. We'll work it out between us, because this just isn't mine. This is all of ours. And if you want something to be, got an idea, drop me a message. Let's work on it. This is lovely tonight. I can step back. I can have a drink. I don't have to introduce every fucking song. It's just wonderful.
One of the things I would say that you should take from that whole video is Rob saying, "We'll help," because that is 100% there. There is a community out there who are willing to help as much as we can to keep this going forward. I personally absolutely willing to get involved any way that I can, and I think pretty much everyone is. You've become a really important part of our lives.
Not like the over the last uncle.
No,
just checking. Do you know what I mean?
It depends on the person you're talking. But no, you've become a really important part of our lives, and for all of the musicians in the chat room, you're someone who's facilitated us in following our dream of being able to stand up in front of people playing music, and that role is so important and is so underrated and underthanked. So personally, I would like to thank you, because I turned up to a unknown open mic, and 8 months later I'm sat here interviewing you, having played
How
for the
random is
first
that?
but having been able to play in front of some humans for the first time in 3,000 years.
It's been about that long, isn't it? Yeah,
it's roughly that.
I have to say, 2 dates playing live after not playing for 8 months, it fucking felt like a world tour, and I think Josh and Andy and Oggy and Robin agree with me.
But I am absolutely 100% that you wouldn't have changed that for the world.
Oh no, totally not. That's all I've wanted to do for years.
Yeah, but Ian, thank you so very much for everything that you do for all of us, and thank you for being my guest tonight. And I will look forward to doing many more of these in the future. My guest next Monday will be...
Who have we got next Monday? Do you know what? I don't know if I've got anyone lined up for next week, but what I'm interested in doing is these talk shows that I've mentioned. So we can do a bit more of this, but obviously a lot of the shows have been centred around music, and I've asked people to have tracks to play. So my plan is to throw the music out the window. We all love music, but there's also a time for chat. So people who haven't got a back catalogue, I'm going to start inviting them on. I think one of the first people I'm going to get on is Andy, because Andy and I got a lot to talk about. And we're just going to meet some people. We're going to meet some people who haven't had a chance to do these chats with us. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Looking forward to that. But, just back to that video quickly. Guys, seriously, thank you for everything. It's... It's touching. I was slightly welling up. You almost stabbed me, but not quite. But Wispy there, Wispy being so serious and so sensible.
I will send you
go jam night when he said jam night.
I will send you Wispy's full video, and it is wonderful and touching. And yeah, Wispy, thank you for because he sent me a short one first off, and then after talking to him on Saturday night, he recut that one and sent a new one. And it's genuinely awesome to hear him saying what this means. So,
and I'm glad to hear that Sarah's not dead, and I'm glad to hear that Aslan realises I'm not dead. And I'm very impressed, whoever organised that video, I'm presuming it's you, Phil, that you actually got Tony to do a video.
She wasn't getting away with it. Cheers, Tony.
Hello.
But, Ian, thank you very much. And I think you can play us out with Mary. This has been the full unedited Freak Jam Radio Unsigned session with Ian Husband.
Love you all, guys. Thanks for tuning in tonight and watching me spout shit. And well done, Phil, for taking the reins on this one. I've enjoyed it. This is Mary. See you later, guys.
My prayers seem to be in vain throughout my childhood. Cause when I wanted anything, I'd sit and ask the Lord above. He would never answer me, so I took what I would need. I knew that those that misbehaved could ask the Lord and He forgave. He forgave, 'cause all I wanted you to be was my redeeming Mary. All I wanted you to be was my redeeming Mary. I'll be a pagan. I'll worship all them gods and unknown deities.